Hey guys, Tina here and welcome to another weekly reads video. Now, as you probably know, last week was BookBuddyAthon and that definitely pushed me to read a bit more than I potentially would that week, and I really enjoyed it. It was my first time participating and I had a blast. Now, the first book that I read last week was Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. This is actually a book that I already talked about in my last weekly reads video, so I will just mention it and show it here so you can go watch that video. And then the next book that I actually got to finish was the book that Haley and I, who was my buddy during the BookBuddyAthon, and I will link her channel up above. Anyways, we were reading Nevernight by J. Kristoff. This was a book that sort of scared us both because, I don't know, we've heard things about it, that it's hard to get into and stuff like that. So, you know, we decided to buddy read it together, and we were both, I think, pretty happy that we did because it was a great read. We really enjoyed it both. Now, to my surprise, I kept thinking that this is a young adult book, but I soon realized that that is not the case. It's quite adult. It has a lot of sex. Well, not a lot of sex, but there's sex in it. It has graphic language, a lot of swearing, and it's pretty gruesome. You know, it's a book about assassins, so things get out of hand and things get bloody. So just be aware of that before you get into it. This is a story of Mia, who, you know, she lost her parents when she was 10 years old, and she was then raised by an assassin who trained her, and at the beginning of this book we see her being shipped off to this assassin school. And when she gets there she learns a lot more about the trade. I really enjoyed this book. It was, you know, to my surprise, it was really not hard to get into. I just went in and I really enjoyed it from the get-go. The writing is sort of, it reminds me of Laini Taylor. It's not exactly like that, but it is really original and I really liked it. It's a really hilarious book, especially the first part. I think I found myself laughing out loud, which is not something that I do with books. I mean, I cry a lot in books, but laughing is not something that usually happens to me. So I did appreciate that. There are footnotes that do bring a lot to the story, I think, and some of those are really funny, so you should not necessarily skip them. Anyways, so I really like Mia as a character. She was pretty consistent with her reactions and how she responded to things. I really enjoyed her and learning about her more and more. There are definitely things that we still have to learn about her, or, you know, figure out, you know, alongside her. The rest of the cast was just as great. There are a lot of kids, naturally, because, you know, they're training at the school. And I really liked a lot of them. They had all, you know, they have their own motivations for why they're there. And it was interesting to see that. They're pretty cruel, all of them. And I do wish that we learned a bit more about some of them, at least the main ones. Then we have a bunch of teachers, of course, because we are at a school. And yeah, those were great as well. They didn't spare the kids at all. They were just dying left and right. They had this poisonous teacher, and he, you know, this teacher really reminded me of Snape, but a bit more cruel, actually. And I was just, you know, the things that the teacher did, it really, I sort of wondered, why did Snape not come up with that? Or maybe he did and Dumbledore said, you know, no, we're not gonna go that way. I don't know, it just felt like things that Snape would do. The school itself really reminded me of Hogwarts. It's not like Hogwarts, but it sort of gave me the feel that it is, which is not something that happens a lot, because we do have, you know, books that take place at school, but you don't get that feeling. But with this one I did, and I really liked that. The plot is full of twists and turns that I did not see coming, so it's really surprising, and I honestly cannot wait for book 2 to come out, which is, what, in September. So, you know, not that long of a wait, but still. I do recommend this book, really. So, the next book that I got to finish during the week was The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. Now, I've had this book for ages, but I never picked it up for, I don't know why. I mean, I guess just other books felt like they needed my attention more. Anyways, this is a magical realism book. It tells the story of Ava Lavender and her female side of the family. And now Ava herself was born with wings, so, you know, she's really special, but so are, you know, her ancestors. We get to see the story from basically her great-grandmother onwards, and these ladies had a lot of problems with love, and they sort of were all magical in their own way. The writing is really beautiful. It's really easy to get into, and it reads really fast, this book, and I did enjoy it. It was really whimsical and magical and just charming, and I did like that. I did not connect with the story that much, honestly. but I'm definitely happy that I finally picked it up. And if you're looking for magical realism, this is full of it. It is a beautiful read. So yeah, I'm really happy that I finally got around to reading it. And the book that I did not get to finish during the BookBuddyAthon, and I was supposed to, is The Watchmaker of Filigree Street by Natasha Pulley. I started reading this book. I got to read around 2 chapters and it was really slow paced. So I decided to put it on because I just wasn't feeling it right now. So this is still one that I will have to get to eventually. But I'm still intrigued by it, so don't worry about that. One day I will read it. So then I felt like putting a little bit more of variety in my reading, and I went to the library and got the first 3 volumes of Saga, which you probably know because it's one of the most popular graphic novel series here on BookTube. So I got volume 1, volume 2 and volume 3. This is the story of this interracial couple that was not supposed to get together because their nations are at war and have been for a while, but despite that they fall in love and they get a daughter, and now they're on the run because both sides are trying to kill them basically, and they have to protect their family. I really enjoy them. These are pretty graphic. There's a lot of sex, nudity and bloodshed, so you know, just tread with caution, but I'm really happy that I finally got around to reading these, and I cannot wait for, you know, my well, the rest of the volumes to come to the library, you know, so I can read those as well. Well, despite this variety, I just got the urge to read a big book, which, again, I love big books, so it's not that surprising, but I was in the middle of a readathon, so that was not really practical. But despite that, I picked another book up, and that was, or still is actually, The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. So this is a big book, and it takes place in this fantastical world where there are people that are gifted, so they can use the essence to do things. And there used to be also the augurs who were, you know, sort of like gifted. They could use the essence, but they could also read minds and tell if people are telling the truth or not. And there's also shadows who used to be gifted, but sort of the gift to use the essence was taken away from them, and now they have these black veins on their face and they're really easy to distinguish. And there's naturally irregular humans, and a while back there was this huge war between the gifted and humans won, and now the gifted are sort of have to adhere to this treaty that has 4 tenets, and they have to abide by them. And yeah, they're not too happy about that, but anyways, that's just the background. And we get to meet the Davian, who is in a school for the gifted. He's gifted, but he's not really that good at you know, sort of doing magic, so you know, he's really worried that he will fail his trials, and if that happens he will be turned into a shadow. And he has a friend called Weir and a friend called Asha, and things happen, and he and Weir have to go on this journey in search of something, and Asha on the other hand stays behind, and things happen at the school as well, which are not necessarily great. So yeah, I'm in the middle of it. I'm 2/3 through, so I'm really enjoying it so far. The writing is really easy to get into. The magic, I'm sort of, unsure yet how it works exactly, but you know, I think I'll figure it out eventually. But yeah, so this is the one book that I have to finish this week, and the next one that I have to finish is one I'm sure you will be tired of hearing me talk about it. It's Stranger Dreamer by Lady Taylor. This is the book that I put aside last week for the readathon, and now I do have to finish it. So basically, those are my plans for this week. 2 books, 2 big books again to finish. I'm sure I will be able to do it, hopefully. I guess we shall see this time next week. Anyways, let me know how you are doing, what are you planning to read this week, and thank you for watching this video, and see you in my next one. Bye!